Another game where a devastating inning cost the New York Mets, and they've now lost 4 in a row.
You are Locked On Mets, your daily New York Mets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all you amazing Mets fans. You're watching Locked On Mets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Ryan Finkelstein. I've been covering the New York Mets on this show since the 2019 season. This is the only podcast that covers the Mets 7 days a week throughout the regular season. If you want to find some of my written work, you can do so over at justbaseball.com, where I work as the managing editor. Well, the Mets finally got back to playing baseball after 2 days off, and early on, looked like the Mets had a chance to win a baseball game. I would say if you talk about the first 5 innings of this game, there's a lot of positive takeaways. Clay Holmes threw the ball really well. The Mets lineup really worked Freddy Peralta. He was struggling through some of those innings, grunting. You could just see the strain that the Mets hitters are putting on him, some tough at-bats. Really did make it tough on one of the tougher starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. And yet, once again, you turn the game over to the bullpen a little bit early, and an absolute disaster inning makes it another embarrassing loss for the New York Mets. Joey Ortiz get you for a grand slam. Granted, Ortiz has been swinging a much better bat lately. It did make me feel better that I looked at his last week's stats, and he had homered 3 other times before this one, so not as much of a shock as it was when he put that ball down the line left field for a grand slam that put the game away, basically, but still a brutal loss. And again, what's frustrating about it is the Mets were able to play some good baseball early. They show you the signs of a team that can hang in there against anyone, that can be a quality club, and then it's just one little thing, and it feels so mental with this team. Marie Garrett comes in, and he just didn't have it, and you just knew he didn't have it, and the game slips away from the Mets so quickly, and there's just no hope of recovery. But I do want to get to the front half of this game because you had Clay Holmes, who gives up a leadoff homer to Sal Frelick and then a base hit. So that feeling of this game is getting away from the Mets, it was present 5 minutes into the game. It was present 2 minutes into the game because it was immediately the Mets are down. But Clay Holmes, to his credit, showed you that he still is a very quality starting pitcher right now. He buckled down. He got through that first inning, and he didn't give up. Well, you have one more hit across the next 4 innings. He was really solid from that point. The one inning where he really struggled was the 4th inning. He had a flashback to his days as a closer where you bend but don't break, where he got the first out. He walked the bases loaded, and then he gets a hard hit ground ball. I believe that was Vientos to Beatty to Alonso for the 5-4-3 double play to get out of it and put up another 0. So you look at what Clay Holmes did for the Mets. He gets them through 5 innings and gives them a chance. And you have this lineup, which again was going up against a really good starting pitcher. The 3rd inning, they started to do a little bit of hit and run. They started to try to manufacture some runs, and it worked. You had Jeff McNeil get hit by a pitch. Then you run a hit and run play with Luis Torrens. Perfect guy to do it because Torrens is a good contact hitter. He executes it, hits the ground ball through the hole. You wonder, wait, why did the hit and run go extinct? Why don't we see this more often? It's such an effective play. He got runners at first and third, nobody out. Credit to Brett Beatty. Has a good professional at bat, gets himself into a hitter's count, gets a pitch to hit, doesn't try to do too much, hits the ball in the air. You get a run, you tie the game. The next inning, Juan Soto leadoff walk, gets that running lead, steals second base, his 10th stolen base of the year. Pete Alonso gets a base hit up the middle, his 66th RBI this season to drive in Soto. Mets have a 2-1 lead, and Clay Holmes, again, allowed that lead to hold up. He gets through 5 innings, having given up only 1 run. Freddy Peralta is, at this point, again, sort of gassed. He's running out of steam going into that 6th inning. He's at 85 pitches. Clay Holmes goes out there. First guy gives up a leadoff walk. The walks did kill him. I mean, if you think about how many pitches he actually threw in this game, 90, and the 4 walks that he issued, he cleaned up the walks. His stuff was really playing well in the zone. He was getting a ton of ground balls. That could have been the difference to get him through 6, but the other difference could have been letting him stay out there at 90 pitches after he got the first out of the 6th inning. Now, I haven't seen Carlos Mendoza speak. I promise he's probably going to say, I had Clay Holmes for 85 to 90 today, because they are monitoring his workload. He's never been a starting pitcher for this long through an MLB season, and he's already flown past his career high in innings pitched. So you have to be careful with Clay Holmes. But the difference in this game is the Brewers didn't have to be careful with Freddy Peralta. When Reed Garrett blew up and the game completely self-destructed, you had Freddy Peralta, who was able to go out there and allow that lead to hold up for the Brewers, and he got through that 6th inning through the heart of the Mets order. That was the difference in this game. Now, you can blame Carlos Mendoza for pulling Clay Holmes, and I get that sentiment. If that was really all his decision and he thought that Reed Garrett was the best option to continue and he had Clay Holmes for 105 pitches if he wanted to and he didn't just trust the starting pitcher. But then again, at the same time, if Clay Holmes walks another guy and then gives up a 3-run homer, everyone's going to be jumping down Carlos Mendoza's throat for not pulling Clay Holmes. So I always get into that thing of blaming the manager during these times, during the free fall, because it's not the manager's fault necessarily. I don't think that was an egregious decision by Carlos Mendoza because I don't know what goes into his decision-making. I don't know what information he has. I don't know if it's, well, if you have to get Clay Holmes up to 95 pitches, you can, but we think that those 5 pitches are going to be very, very dangerous for him. If you have that in the back of your mind, I understand saying, well, I have a guy in Reed Garrett who's been great this year, largely, not recently, but actually, no, last week, Reed Garrett had a good week. If I remember correctly, and let me look this up and make sure I'm not wrong, I believe last week, Edwin Diaz, Reed Garrett, Ryan Standing, Jose Budo, none of them were the problem last week, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at it. And you could say, oh, Reed Garrett's been overused this year. They just had 2 days off. And Reed Garrett might have had more than that. So let's look. Reed Garrett last pitched on the 28th of June. So he had 3 days off. Reed Garrett came into this appearance with the 2.25 ERA in the season. Last week, scoreless inning, got 2 outs, scoreless inning. Yeah, so he gave up 4 runs against the Phillies, but that was over a week ago. So I get it. It's frustrating. But, like, you're blaming Carlos Mendoza when Reed Garrett's the one that came out there and had nothing. It's the players' fault for the lack of execution. It's the fact that once the Mets are down lately, I mean, granted, the Brewers have a good bullpen, and Peralta got them through the 6th, but it feels like the Mets shriveled. And not to mention, they only got 2 hits in this game. I mean, they really did manufacture their runs. This is a Brewers team that's playing good baseball. It's a very tough matchup for a Mets team that's been struggling. But I'm not blaming this game on Carlos Mendoza's managing. I'm really not. I think, Reed Garrett, with the way he's pitched this year, there's every chance that he was the guy to go out there and, throw that cutter or that splitter and get a strikeout and get out of that inning, or even be the one to get the double play ball. Granted, I think Clay Holmes probably was the perfect guy to get the double play ball. But again, if he tells us after the game that Clay Holmes only had 90 pitches to give, I understand. And even if he didn't, it looks so much worse because of the result. But Reed Garrett gets a double play ball, and then he gets through the 7th inning, and Ryan Stanek pitches the 8th, Edwin Diaz pitches the 9th, and the Mets win 2-1, and Carlos Mendoza managed it perfectly. It's just another frustrating loss. That's the way I look at it. I can't blame it on the manager. You could blame it on Reed Garrett, but it is what it is. Because, again, you want to go to Clay Holmes and say he was amazing in this game. He was good, but he walked 4. If he doesn't walk 4, guess what? He's sitting at 78 pitches, and he's definitely getting through 6. But he didn't manage his pitches economically enough because a guy that was getting nothing but ground balls for those final 4 innings walked 4 across the last 2. And there's every indication that he easily could have walked another. So again, we get into these singular decisions and we think we're the right ones. And this is a lot of what I'm seeing on Twitter. I'm not sure if that's what everyone is thinking right now, but a lot of what I'm seeing is Carlos Mendoza, it's his fault. No, man, it's this team. This team is just in a free fall. And it's going to take some of these players to step up and snap them out of it. It's going to take someone tonight against Jacob Misiorowski, one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. It's going to take Mark Vientos to catch up to a heater after a couple guys got walked and to clip him for a 3-run homer. And then all of a sudden, wow, this team's completely different. Look at Vientos might be back, and then maybe it sparks something. But right now, it's a team that can very quickly crumble mentally because they are in that mode of everyone's trying to be the hero, everybody's pressing, everyone's playing tight. And when you are in that place, it does not take much for everything to sort of slip away. I want to talk about what's coming in this second game, though, because the Mets still have a chance to split this doubleheader, put themselves in a good position to win a series, or they could lose the series today. So we're going to talk about what's coming in just a minute here. Today's episode is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site that's made for skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for that extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. That's why thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your order. That's supplyhouse.com. If you're watching on YouTube today, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Help us get closer to our next goal of 14,000 subscribers. I'm not sure if the Mets have announced a starting pitcher yet. It seems like they're going to employ an opener strategy so that they can make Blade Tidwell the bulk guy. That is showing you that they don't necessarily trust that Blade Tidwell is going to go out there and have a great outing. They don't want him to square off against the top of that Brewers lineup. And the hope is you get a good inning out of somebody, and then you hand it off to Tidwell. And I've talked about it in past appearances about Blade Tidwell. To me, it's 10 outs. Like 10 outs is that's the minimum of what you'd like to get. If you get 10 outs for Blade Tidwell and you still have a chance to win a baseball game, I think you're in a decent spot, especially if you got 5 outs from somebody before that. Or maybe it's 6 outs. I would love to see Jose Butto get a start here just because Butto's been throwing the ball well. He's got starting pitching experience. I could see him, if the pitch count is low, maybe getting you 2 innings plus if it was really going well for him. He's had plenty of rest. So that's the way I would go about it. Huascar Brazaban has been the opener in the past. I'm curious here. I want to hear Carlos Mendoza. Sorry for stopping my show in the tracks, but I wanted to hear. I was looking to see who the potential starter was going to be here for the second game, and I saw the Carlos Mendoza talking about his decision on Clay Holmes. Look, there's thought behind his decision. That's the reality of what he just said. Like he had a rationalized reason for it. And Reed Garrett, if you were to just look at what the Mets have, gotten from him throughout the season, you can make an argument he's been your best relief pitcher. So you're going to your best relief pitcher who's fresh off of 3 days rest, and you think he is a better matchup with the lefties in the lineup, is I guess what he was saying there. So it is what it is. It didn't work. It didn't work out for him. He got Clay Holmes through Churio, and that was going to be it. So you go to Garrett, and yeah, it just was a disaster. But that's not necessarily on Carlos Mendoza. Getting back to game 2, again, apologies for stopping midway through. I don't even remember the tangent I was on before I looked up and saw that video from Mendoza. But you look at this game 2, it's going to be tough to beat Jacob Misiorowski. And so however you can navigate those first 5 innings to stay in the game, that's what you have to do. And so we'll see who they choose to be the opener. But Blade Tidwell's got to have a good game. And I imagine he's going to have Hayden Sanger behind the plate. Those guys have worked together a lot this year, the last couple years, really. So maybe with his own catcher back there, it might work out well for him. We'll see how Tidwell throws the ball, but there is every chance. I mean, if you're just if I was a betting man right now thinking about where I want to put my money tonight, it'd be hard for me to put it on the Mets when you have Jacob Misiorowski, who's won each of his first 3 big league starts. He's absolutely nasty. He averages 100 miles per hour in his fastball. He averaged like 95 miles per hour in his slider. This is a brutally tough matchup for any team, especially a team that's struggling like the Mets are. Are these guys going to be able to catch up to the fastball? I really don't know. I think the best thing you can do is be patient, hope that he doesn't have a feel for the zone and walks a couple of guys. And then when you're talking about a guy that has stuff this good luck trying to string together hits. Your best chance is to clip them. That's your best chance. So hopefully the Mets can do that. You have whatever opener is going to get you through the first inning, maybe the first 5 outs, potentially first 2 innings. You go to Tidwell. If Tidwell can get you through the 5th inning into the 6th inning and the Mets have a lead, you still have Ryan Stanek. You still have Edwin Diaz. We'll see who they open with. If they open with an Austin Warren, which is also an option, he's the 27th man for the doubleheader, then you might have Jose Budo for the later innings. Maybe that's the best way to do it. We'll see what course of action the Mets choose and how they want to try to get through this game. It'd be amazing if they could get on track and just win one, and then you have a shot to win a series with David Peterson on the mound on Thursday. But also there's every chance that this turns into a 5-game losing streak and the Mets free fall continues. I think the only positive that you can take away from this game is the fact that Clay Holmes is still a good option for you every 5th day. It'd be great if you could push him a little bit harder, but he's still giving you a chance. And so at least that's one part of this rotation that is not broken right now, and a lot of it pretty much is. On the show tomorrow, because I'm not going to do a live stream after this second game, I'm going to wait and do a full show for you tomorrow morning. We'll also have, hopefully, the result of a double-A game that will include Sean Manaea and Jesse Winker. So the other part about this is, and I talked about it on this morning show, Sean Manaea and Kodai Senga are both on the mend. That is massive for this starting rotation. And the Mets have put themselves in a position here where if they can just take a series, a game against the Brewers, a game against the Yankees, and they can finish on a good road trip against a couple of bad teams, which is right now asking a lot for this Mets team, but they don't have to go and finish off the season. They now lost one. There's 11 left. They don't have to finish off the season going 7-4 over their final 11 games. If they can find their way to 5 or 6 wins, they're going to be in a spot where they can come out of the break. They'll be healthier, and they can still have a good push before the deadline, start to look like a winning baseball team again if they make the right moves. Like this season, while it feels really bad, and I've seen, there's some comparisons of this team to the team in 07 or the team in 2023. Well, the collapse of 07 and 08, they came at the end of the year. There's still time left. There's still real estate in this season for the Mets to be able to do some things. The collapse in 2023 got to a point where it was completely unfathomable that the Mets could make a run. And they were built on these really, win now contracts in Verlander and Scherzer. And it didn't make sense to try to ride that out just for a chance to make a run when they could get out from under it and get prospects. So they were able to sell. I don't think the Mets are in that position right now. I think the Mets have a team that has no reason to ever kind of fold up shop on this year. And they built up such a cushion early that they're going to be, by the time you get to the deadline, within striking distance of a playoff spot, and they'll have every chance to be within striking distance of the division. It's a brutal stretch. The stretch continued with this game. An awful, ugly, disgusting inning. I get it. It's frustrating, but I don't think all hope is lost, and this team's never going to win again. I think they just need to break out of it, and sometimes it's just getting that first win, and maybe it can turn things around. Or getting that standout performance, having a Blade Tidwell shock us and he gets 15 outs and is economical. And all of a sudden, wow, Tidwell really helped the Mets. It's Francisco Lindor goes 4 for 4 and he hits a 3-run homer. It's Juan Soto has a 2-home run game. It's Pete Alonso goes off. I mean, there's so many guys that can step up and carry the Mets to a victory. You just need a few of them to get the team off to an early lead or to get you into a position where you're not just playing from behind. I think the Mets can still play some good baseball in those situations. But right now, when you have lost as many games as the Mets have over the past 3 weeks, basically, as soon as you have that grand slam hit, it's a wrap. As soon as you even give up the lead, when Reed Garrett comes in and gives up a double right away that scores a run, as soon as that happens, as soon as Christian Yelich scores from first base, that already is a point where mentally as a team, you're like, oh, here we go again. So they just have to find their way through this time to get out of that. But that's going to be all for this live stream reaction to another Mets loss. I appreciate all of you who tuned in and watched it live. Thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. As far as your upcoming episode of Locked On Mets, again, no post-game stream after Game 2. Full show for you tomorrow morning. And then if you do like these post-game streams, I will be back tomorrow after Thursday night's game to do a little recap as well. So I appreciate all of you for tuning in. For those of you who watch the recap or listen to it on your podcast feeds, follow, rate, and review. Thank you for making Locked On Mets your first listen, your first watch every day. Now, if you want to check out Locked On Sports Today, you can see all of the latest going on in the sports world with insight from our local experts as well as our league-wide experts. Check out Locked On Sports Today, streaming 24/7 on YouTube.